It's just so much fun. I've had so much fun in the 9 months I've been playing this. It looks like our race is underway on the stream as well.
And the uncle says, race you to the castle. He's not going to make it the whole way. And a magic cape to start with. That's not what anyone wants to see right away.
Absolutely not. It might seem like, oh yeah, it's a great item. It gives me a lot of protection early on. Unfortunately, it is one of the things which unlocks the Tower Castle. So, who knows? We could be lucky. We could be lucky and see that Agaseed that we all know that we want.
Everyone, I mean, if you're in chat, of course you want Agaseed, but our weapon, we're in bow mode.
That's always a nice thing to see. It gives you so much flexibility for where you want to go and what dungeons you can complete early on. Definitely the bow and the ice rod are the weapons which evade me the most when I'm playing. So having that to start is a really good start.
Yeah, combine that with the bombs that they picked up. They won't even have to do any farming for those first few bombs for the back of the escape sequence. This is starting out, you know, everything's turning up Millhouse for these runners right now.
Absolutely. Not having to farm for bombs during escape just makes everything so nice and quick. And we like being quick in this game, believe it or not.
What? Speedrunners like being quick? What are you talking about?
No. We'd like to just go all the way around the world and do all the unnecessary stuff like Aghanim 1, Pedestal, etc, etc. We can get some hype for that going already, right? Oh my goodness. So yeah, we need some sort of handicap later in the game, because they're getting everything right now. So we have the power gloves right now for all these runners, getting grey gloves during the escape. So yeah, we need some sort of stumbling block somewhere in the middle of the seat for the amount of items they're getting right now.
It's alright, it'll happen. Something will happen. Something inevitably will happen.
Something always happens.
And that's interesting. Fairy drop for all of our runners. That means the fairies are going to be part of that kind of tier 1 drop for those particular soldiers. That's really handy because I believe those soldiers actually share the drop tables with quite a few other enemies in the game.
I think that's right. But that fairy could be coming up quite often, so that would be especially good if they don't find enough heart containers or pieces of heart early on. They might want that extra boost of health during the run.
Absolutely. So all of our runners end up picking up Zelda, get the key, so we do know that we need at least one key as we're going through here. So we pick up the one key. We know we're going to need that. The other dungeon item that we're looking for is the map. Now, if we don't find it before we get to the very end, remember that last chest in the sanctuary itself is part of the loot table for the escape sequence in total. So if we don't find the map up until then, the runners will be able to just skip that particular one. Not sure if that's going to happen or yet not.
It's generally unlikely. You're definitely guaranteed to find the small key before you get up to that point in the dark room. If you've not found it before the dark room, the key is in that chest. The map can be anywhere, and I believe it's 8 chests in the total of the escape sequence. So 1 in 8 chance. It's unlikely that it's going to be there. It's more likely to be in the rest of the castle and you pick up the sanctuary chest, but you know, sometimes it can happen.
It can happen, and it's one of those kind of edge case opportunities to gain a few frames. And, you know, not that a few frames is necessarily anything to cheer about, but every little bit can count if you're getting down to the wire here. If it's a jet seed that ends up being pretty linear, sometimes those little, you know, micro differences can mean the difference between a win and a loss.
Yes, definitely. It's only when you get to the point where you think that someone is ahead in a race and you want to make that extra special gamble, like going right side in Ganon's tower deliberately. You know, if you're all taking the same route, or if you're all taking the same gambles, then it is all down to those tiny nuances in your movement and in your itemization and your menuing that will help you win that race.
And we also got a fetch quest. The mushroom was located in the escape chest, so that'll be something to keep our eye on. That does mean, logically, we should be able to get that item relatively soon. Whether or not that matters much is going to come into question. Now, will our runners hang on to the mushroom and maybe try to do a fake powder glitch a little bit later? There's our map, red rupee, and just a bomb upgrade.
I must say that fake powder is definitely one of my favourite glitches in the whole thing. Because of just the mechanics, tricking the game into doing something and getting something unexpected out of that. And for that one, it's only for one item, but even so, it feels like you're cheating the game, and we like it when we do that. We don't need to do what the developers intended us to do.
No, never. If we did what the developers intended, we wouldn't have rando.
Exactly.
All right, so we are through the escape sequence. Just another big 20 here. So we're still a little light on rupees for much of Kakariko, but not doing too bad. I imagine we're going to head right off to Kakariko here directly, though.
Yep. Lots of items in Kakariko to find, and you know, all those big 20s, they might not seem useful right now, but they may add up because we do have King Zora in Logic with those grey gloves, and you never know, sometimes, well, all the time, let's face it, it's mostly a scam, but sometimes he's hanging on to that one item you really, really want, and the value that comes from just throwing him 500 rupees, sometimes it really pays off.
And Solsky is making us all second guess ourselves. He's going to turn in that mushroom immediately, even before going in. They do find the magic lamp, so we have ourselves a light source. And
well, at least Solsky is valid. He found the single arrow.
Oh no!
Oh no!
Solsky reset after seeing the single arrow, but forgot he hadn't saved yet.
It's okay, it's only going to be like another 7 minutes going through the entirety of the escape sequence again, because this is standard mode and not open. Whoops.
Okay, Solsky is a good enough runner. He can come back from this, but guarantee you he's feeling a little bit jebaited right now. He's not happy with himself.
It's okay, it happens to the best of us. But yeah, that hurts. It does hurt.
It does, and yeah, lots of good things in the basement.
The mirror, a sword upgrade.
Hey, guess what? That's a sword, the cape, and the lamp. We officially have access to go ahead and clear out Aga 1.
With the bombs as well that they have found, they are all taking the same route, going to Blind's house, then going over to the well, and then obviously they're going to be taking in the rest of Kakariko, but most of our runners are taking exactly the same path whilst we're at this early stage of the game.
Absolutely. So it'll be interesting to watch where they go. I mean, they could continue on kind of a standard route, including kind of utilizing and going right into Eastern Palace as they so desire, because we have everything needed to clear out Eastern Palace logically as well. It'll be interesting to see if anyone makes the call to just go ahead and say, no, we already have Aga access, let's go ahead and do Aga.
Yeah, there's definitely a big move to make if you decide that your Dark World access is definitely going to be through defeating Aghanim 1 rather than holding out for the hammer, because Grey Gloves and Hammer will get them most of the Dark World access that they need at this point. So is that gamble? Do you want to hang around more in the Light World and see if you find that hammer, or are you going to take that gamble that you won't find the hammer until after you defeated Aghanim 1?
JP ended up finding bombs in the back, so he did not have to buy bombs, but is only left with 2 at this point in time. Nothing really of note, just a big 20 in the back of the chicken hut, but Brewers was able to save himself a little bit of money and time in terms of superior routing in that decision and not having to go back and buy bombs. We're seeing just a piece of heart in the library. We'll see what's in the racing game here.
We had a tiny map check then as well. Red pendants at Eastern Palace, crystals at the other 2 dungeons, 5-6 crystal at Desert Palace though. So they actually have access to all 3 of these dungeons. The only one that's in issue right now is whether they can complete Desert Palace because they may need the boots for that.
Absolutely, and it's weird feeling like, oh, I just finished Kakariko. I can at least get into and complete most of the Light World dungeons. That's a little bit unusual. Oh, Brewers is setting up a fake flipper over here. This is kind of an unusual spot to fake flipper, but it's to efficiently get up to the Witch's Hut. Looks like he's getting ready to earn his disappointment with the single arrow as well.
That's an impressive fake flipper. I've not actually seen that one before. So props to him for actually pulling that one off.
Yeah, and now the route divergence is real. We have, oh my gosh, Kern looks like he's on his way up, gonna go up Death Mountain. Brewers is checking out the Witch Hut. Solsky is still finishing up Escape, and Walter is sticking with the standard route. He is bombing. Looks like he's going to be doing the mini Muldorm cave. He hasn't done the dam yet, which tells me he's going to start here and then work his way west and eventually end up over in desert.
Yes, if you know that you're going to be heading towards desert, sometimes leaving Swamp Ruins out of the picture until you've completed the rest of the area around Lake Hylia, it can pay off. And oh no, Kern, he's gotten stuck on a death rock and he can't go past in either direction and ends up just having a piece of heart from the old man.
That's what happens when an old man leads another old man. That's just dead rocks getting your way, apparently.
I thought they were just going to both get lost in the mountain, but it turns out one of them was clever enough to bring a lamp with them.
Well, it looks like Brewers is actually going to be following Kern up Death Mountain. Meanwhile, Walter is doing the more standard. It's really interesting how much this has opened up this early game for us between having the Power Glove and the lamp. Logically, we have access to a ton of stuff.
Yeah, it's getting all of those early items. You may think that this is a huge advantage, you can do everything, and then you realize, oh wait, I can do everything. That's a lot of things. And it just takes you all over the map. And we haven't got access to the Dark World just yet, but there are still lots of things to do with this many items in the Light World.
Absolutely. So this play from Walter is going to be really interesting. He's going to come over here and check, and we're going to find out almost immediately if Desert is going to be boots locked or not. Now, there's usually a pretty good chance that it is, just based on the item layout. Kern is going to show us increased arrow storage up here on the Ether tablet. Solsky, meanwhile, completes his escape sequence after that disaster that happened with that hard reset before he actually got a save in. So he's going to be taking a few more gambles, I think. There's our Dark World map. Green pendant in Ice, blue pendant in Misery Mire.
Yeah. Out of the top 3, 2 of them are pendants. However, there is the issue of that red crystal at Turtle Rock. So if they want to do any of the things with the fairy, they're going to have to do it. But also that means they're going to have to hunt for that ice rod. It's got to be here somewhere, and they will need it.
All right. Meanwhile, it does look like Walter's found out that it is boots locked, so he's going to go check what Agina has in his cave. Meanwhile, both Kern and Brewers are going to be in Tower of Hera. Solsky is going to be finding his plethora of items, this wonderful Stackerico that we had.
Kern's having his coffee break right now in the chat room. but soon he'll be checking out and getting his big key, and then climbing up the rest of the Tower of Hera.
All right, so Walter just finished that up, and it looks like he's going to be on his way over to Eastern Palace, to the eastern area, where we will be able to get the back of Shamalama Ding Dong's hut for 3 chests, and there's going to be 3 items that are going to be in Eastern Palace itself as well. Now, you alluded to it, and I wonder if this is going to happen. While we do have access to everything for Aga, because we had so much open up to us, all 3 dungeons, all of our runners ended up going. Solsky, knowing that he's behind right now, could very well make that low percent play and go right to Aga. And if that ends up paying off for him, he will buy back all of his time that he lost on that unfortunate save and quit.
Yeah, you have to be feeling pretty behind already, having that unfortunate reset, but then finding all of these items as well, you are feeling a bit behind. So whether you decide to take that gamble and make the hard play and do Aghanim. Of course, we still don't have much Dark World access. We have the hammer now, but we still haven't found the Moon Pearl. So without the Moon Pearl could be on the pyramid, which has happened to me before. And it's really a horrible feeling, but it does mean that Aghanim 1 is required if the Moon Pearl is there.
Yep, absolutely. So, I mean, hammer is nice. It's an amazing weapon. Does the same damage as the tempered sword. So Walter's going to be able to get through this boss. He looks like he's going up to do Moldorm as well. He's going to be able to get through that a little bit faster. Did not actually finish up Eastern. He just kind of dipped into the back of Sahasrala's hut and got his items and then noped out after that. Kern, meanwhile, is on Trolldorm himself.
He's getting a little bit bullied, but you have to fight that Moldorm. We have to show him who's the boss. And he may be boss in name, but we're the real bosses of this game. Always show him who's boss.
Wait, who's the boss? Tony Danza.
I forget.
Tony Danza is the boss. That's... Moving on. Anyway.
So Solsky's now leaving Kakariko, having found all of these items. Kernan finishing up Moldorm and getting downgraded heart. Not a full heart container, just a piece of heart. It does complete a container for him, so swings and roundabouts. Oh, Brewers.
Oh, Brewers right into the middle hole, so he's going to fall down a couple there.
Yep. Getting hit down the center pocket. Always feels bad falling that 2nd floor.
All right, so Solsky just did his save and quit after getting everything. So where are you going to go now, Solsky? You're going to make some gambles here, or you're doing, looks like exactly what everyone else is doing?
Sometimes you just have to go up the mountain. You have to know what's up there. And sometimes you get lucky. You find your hammer and then decide, if you really want to, you can then explore over to Death Mountain East. There are lots of items waiting to be found over there as well.
Absolutely. So Walter's now starting his trek and is going to take a death just to refill some hearts. Brewers is back at Trolldorm, and Solsky is just beginning his climb. Meanwhile, Kern is getting ready to... looks like he's going to do his south route here directly. Yeah, although he's taking a fish.
The mini Moldorm yet, but he may want to check the fish prize as well, see if it's anything valuable. He gets a bomb back in return. He gets a refund for the door of the cave.
He gets a bomb that he can't even get to.
It's not a good refund. I mean, the fish is clearly working for King Zora and his money-making scam.
You're not wrong. So a save and quit from Brewers. I wonder where he's going to go. I imagine he's going to be going south. So far, with everything we've seen, right now it's either in Eastern Palace itself, or we have to do Aga. And there's only, 3 items left in Eastern Palace. I mean, what would you do if you were these guys? Would you go ahead and make the call to do AGA, or do you take that 75% chance that the item that you're looking for that leads to progression is going to be in Eastern Palace?
I've actually found it is quite interesting that so far only one player has gone over to check what Sahasrahla has at the back of his house, and no one has gone into Eastern Palace at all. And although it's a pendant dungeon, there is still 3 items which are very easy to get hold of. And if there is an item on the boss, it is completable because we have the bow to get past the red statues.
Also, chat reminding me how bad I am at this game. And reminded me that with that hammer that we got in the back of Sahasrahla's closet, that actually opens up all of East Death Mountain between the mirror and the hammer. So, never mind, that's the play.
Yeah, that's definitely an item-dense location, Death Mountain East, both the Light and the Dark World, so finding that would be... Finding anything there, like Moonpearl, Hookshot, you know, those weighty items which definitely make quality of life playing these runs a lot better.
Yeah, so far Walter is the only one who has that hammer who had ventured over into the eastern area. No one else has even come close. Brewers is walking the opposite direction. I think they're hoping to find the Moon Pearl so that they can loop in Eastern and Palace of Darkness together, which is a great idea in theory.
Yes, Walter, the only one having that hammer, so that was why his decision to save and quit immediately rather than venture to Eastern. Just the amount of items that is available at Death Mountain, including completing Tower of Hera, trying to take on Moldorm right now. But for everyone else, none of them have explored that area of the Eastern ruins. So Sahasrahla is waiting, Eastern Palace is waiting.
Oh, Walter being cautious. He's missed a few times with that hammer. There's 1, 2. There he goes.
Nice finish. Kern and Brewers now finding out that they're going to have a couple of issues with Desert Palace. They're both opting to leave that area.
And here's where Walter is going to make this a little bit more efficient than everyone else over here on East Death Mountain, which does have just a cornucopia of possibilities here.
And now Solsky also finishing his climb of Tower of Hera. He just needs to take out Moldorm. He's actually going to use the cape for that first hit to guarantee that he gets down onto the platform.
It's not a bad idea, all things said. I mean, especially if he's just kind of hanging out right there where you're trying to jump down. It's like, come on, man, let me fight you.
Yeah, getting bounced up back onto the outer arena edge. You get confused a couple of times when you've never seen that before, but after that it's just really annoying. You just want to get in there and finish him off and get that crystal. Or pendant. Sometimes it's the pendants as well that you need. You have Kern going up into the Zora area as well. I think this is the first time we've seen this area.
Well, and I believe we saw Kern do a little bit of rupee farming earlier, so this makes sense. He was going to make his gambles on Zora himself. Ooh, we have an armor upgrade. Blue Mail sitting on Zora's ledge. That, you know what? I'm a scrub. I would go get that and cash that in. I think a lot of runners wouldn't. They'd want to save the time, but I'd need that myself.
Sometimes it is worth going back for it, especially if you have few heart containers and you decide, you know, I just need the protection here.
And there it is. There's the Moon Pearl. Value to be had on East Death Mountain.
Well, there goes my dreams of an Aghanim 1 seed. but that will give access now to mostly all. Golden gloves are required for the rest of the Dark World access. But we can now go exploring and shopping, because looks like Walter is headed into the portal just south of his house, and that's right next to Hype Cave.
Yeah, let's see. What are we going to have in Hype Cave? Is it going to be hype? Is it going to be a dud? What are we going to see, chat? Get your bets going on. What are we going to see? I'm hoping for a little bit of hype, honestly.
Yeah, Hype Cave seems to have not lived up to its name in this version of Randomizer, in my opinion, but sometimes it gives you some really good value. 20 rupees, it has value, but it's not the value we're looking for. Please give us something better than this. I take back everything I said.
Wah, 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 wah.
I am deeply saddened.
Yeah, yeah. 1 of 10 would not hype again.
Yep. Oh well. You see Kern going into Eastern now, so that's something that no one else has done just yet. But we also have South Strats from Solsky heading over to Ice Rod Cave.
Well, considering no one's
darkness.
Yeah, no one's done Ice Rod Cave yet. Oddly enough, that is usually a pretty early check. But with everything else that opened up to everyone, no one has done Hype Cave or Ice Rod Cave yet. Walter, meanwhile, is.
Yeah, no one should do the Hype Cave. You've already seen what it is. No one should do it.
Ice Rod Cave has got to be at least as hype as Hype Cave. We'll say that.
Well, it can't be any worse. It can't really do much worse if it tried.
Yes, you're not wrong.
I'm deeply upset. I'm bringing commentator's curse, aren't I?
It can happen on occasion. It's all right. You just got to shake it off and keep plowing forward.
Yeah, maybe I should book an appointment with my doctor and see if he has anything for this.
If your commentator's curse lasts more than 4 hours, please consult your doctor. Meanwhile, Solsky looks like he is also setting up a fake flipper. He has the rupees. Looks like he's going to be going and checking. Oh, he's going to be checking what's under here in Hobo, which we have not seen as of yet.
Yeah, might as well do it if you're going to be doing the fake flipper and taking out most of Zora's domain. You might as well go the extra distance for that Hobo bridge and what's on the island in the middle of the lake.
So Walter did find the hook shot there in one of the front chests in the Palace of Darkness. Meanwhile, Kern is in Eastern and does find our first bottle. It's a fairy in a bottle. Nice. And it looks like, oh, Brewers is meeting for all of chat.
Get your pedestal hype ready. It could happen.
Maximum health increase. Yeah. No, not at all.
Yeah. You couldn't give it to me, could you, Seed? You denied me the Aghanim 1, you denied me the pedestal. You deny me Hype Cave, what else is there to live for? It's, never mind.
Oh, there is so much more troll to live for.
Well, we've already seen that one. They've given us green and blue pennants for Ice and Maya and the crystal at Turtle Rock. That's enough, making them search for the Ice Rod.
Hey, Kern did end up finding also the Fire Rod there in Eastern Palace while he was there. Oh no, and he's making the call. He is going to Aga.
Oh. Well,
So-
they said the seed was going to give us some trolls. We have the benefit of knowing that the Moon Pearl isn't on top of the pyramid. But that must really, it's going to really hurt Kern when he actually does find where the Moon Pearl is.
Oh my, so he is going to be on his way up, so this is going to be kind of a significant time waste, all things said. Let's see what else Walter ends up finding. You know, so far, not a whole lot other than that hook shot in Palace of Darkness. One thing to note, though, man, this is a pretty healthy seed, all things said. I think we're already at 9 hearts for most runners.
I see 8s and 9s, and Solski's catching up. I think he's got 7. All things considered, he's making a decent recovery. If he's able to find the Moon Pearl very early compared to the other seeds, he may still be able to scoot on up and almost try and overtake some of these runners. We'll have to see. Still early days yet.
Question in chat, did anyone check Lumberjack? Yes, I know Solski checked it, and because he has not really done much in terms of going there to cash it in, I'm going to guess it's not much of anything. I didn't
say
actually...
arrow upgrade, but I honestly can't remember.
So just a bunch of keys for Brewers fans in Skull Woods, and he doesn't even have the fire rod like Kern does. So all of our, it's interesting because all of our runners have done kind of different things that have benefited them at different points in time. Right now, I got to give the advantage to Walter. He's going to mirror over into Eastern Palace, so he'll have the same stuff that Kern has as soon as he goes over there.
I think that's also with the added benefit he doesn't necessarily need to kill Armos Knights. We didn't see Kern finish that boss off, so it might be all 3 items before you have to go and face off against Armos.
We do find everyone's favorite not wrestler, the Cane of Samaria, is up on the bumper ledge. So, and we got the cape in Ling's house, so you knew we'd be able to have this.
Yeah, sometimes it just, the game's signposts, and when you get items like the mushroom early on, sometimes the game is signposting, hey, you should probably check this item out, it could be good. It wasn't the mushroom this seed, it was the cape.
I'm hearing from chat that Brewers actually found the flippers in Skull Woods. I want to wait until he pauses, just I want to confirm that in his menu. But that, I mean, that's still pretty significant progress. Now, you'll need it at least for Swamp Palace, but it minimizes the impact of that because you don't necessarily want those opening up Ice Palace, because that's a pendant right now.
It is a nice one because it's the green pendant, but it is still out of the way, and it does take a long time, even with the infamous Ice Palace bomb jump.
Yep, he does indeed have the flippers, so...
Walter facing off against Helmsaw King. Seems like a pretty clean fight so far. That looked like it was a very quick mask destruction. Fortunately, no silvers, so he's going to have to fire 8 arrows into this gem. That's still pretty clean.
Yeah, all things said, Kern's having kind of a rough fight here for Aga. Lots of blue balls right now. Brewer's finding some bombs in Graveyard Ledge.
Get the Aga 1 kill for Kern now.
Wait, hang on. So Solski, okay, he saved and quit. What are you doing, Solski? Well, I mean, not Solski, Kern. So he finds a Bombos, but he did save and quit. I think I don't know what he's looking for right now, but he's walking around in the old man bunny form, which is a skeleton.
He must be scratching his head at this point and thinking, hold on a second, what's gone wrong here? That wasn't what I expected to find on top of the pyramid.
Nope, nor should he. And he's looking to die. Wait, what? Oh, he's setting up a water walk glitch. Watch this. He's jumping down in here. He has a fairy, so it will fairy revive him, and he will be in the water walking state, or in the fake flipper state. I'm sorry. Oh. And he jumps right back in. Oh, but he's in the Super Bunny state right now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing
a lesson now. This is going to be a huge sequence break as well, because this is not expected in the No Major Glitches.
Yeah, it's not Super Bunny, it's Super Old Man.
Super Old Man.
Super Gary. Question in chat from Epnaxis. Super Bunny isn't a major glitch. No, it is technically only a minor glitch, and while it's allowed per the official rules, it's not seen a whole lot just because of what it implies you've done logically.
Yeah, it's one of those you don't often see in any streamer's randomizer. It's a very niche trick, and I think he's given us all a lesson today. What to do when you can't find the Moon Pearl and you still want to explore that dungeon.
Meanwhile, Brewers is running around in Thieves Town now. See what Thieves Town is. Solsky is about to find his Moon Pearl, so he's making up a lot of time right now.
And there's the other armor upgrade. Walter has found Catfish has been sitting on it, so now he's going to find what's now turned into the red armor on Zora's Ledge. It's interesting when you find two armor upgrades in very close proximity to each other, you think, should I take both of them?
Well, in this universe, in the randomizer, clearly the Zoras are just master tailors.
Yeah, that works for me. That definitely explains it. Solsky now entering the Dark World, and he's going to be checking out Hype Cave, and I'm sure he's going to be disappointed as I was when I saw what was in there.
Well, if I were Solsky, I would think the main thing I would be disappointed in is that there's been nothing that's been really out of the way in terms of this seed up to this point in time. Like, if you're Solsky, knowing that initial goof that you made with the mushroom, you have to hope for some things that are out of the way, that aren't kind of just laid out right in front of you in order for him to catch up, especially given how capable all the other runners are right now. So he's going to have to make some interesting plays, but everything's been laid out kind of right where it needs to be for everyone.
Okay.
Yep.
Solsky's now checking the pyramid, and he's going to be collecting his Bombos medallion. Walter's headed now into Thieves Town. Kern is still making his way steadily through Palace of Darkness, and Brewer is about to check what's in the Maiden chest in
Now
Town.
he has already found the small key, so we will eventually have to check that particular location. Now, Kern being this far back, I wonder if he skipped the hook shot? I don't think he did.
I think he's just going to route through the whole dungeon, and I'm not sure where we found the hook shot before, but it is feasible that you see a full clear of this dungeon in terms of all the items and things. In fact, he's going to take a death warp to take him right back to the entrance to the dungeon.
Absolutely. So we see Walter also going down here into Thieves Town. Solsky checking out the wonderful, horrible catfish, getting his upgraded blue mail. Brewers is going to show us blind, though.
It's looking like it's a very good start. And then it's always the difficult phase now. 2 heads flying. Can he get the... Yes, he does. Regulation, scripted fight, and a very nice blind kill. He's going to get himself his second crystal.
Absolutely. Walter's kind of in command, and he's been following things as they're laid out in front of him. He's been reading the seed fairly well.
It's interesting to note, though, I think Solsky has been sort of tailing Walter's movements for the last couple of minutes, and having found this area, he then went over to Catfish and got his armor, and now he's coming over to Thieves Town, so it's sort of mirroring what's happening in Walter's screen right now. Be interesting to see, though, whether he will want to go into Skullwoods first, or whether he'll just go straight to Thieves Town.
Now, Solsky also going to be checking the pedestal, just in case. A 2 dig for JP. That's nice.
Yeah, get it over quickly. Don't have to waste anyone's time. You see now Kern is also headed over to Helmsaw King, and he's going to take out that boss. We have a K45 check from Brewers, says doesn't want that piece of heart. It can stay there.
So while Walter is on his way to his 3rd crystal and might have a bit of an advantage, Brewers fan has 2 crystals and is the only one showing us anything new at this point in time. Everyone else is kind of following a very standard script at that right now. So I'm kind of just keeping my eye on what Brewers fan is doing for us right now.
This is all going to be new knowledge for us. I mean, he's now headed over to the other area now. It's going to be checking up the Height Cave and then moving on round to Path of Darkness. But we know right now that none of the other racers have found the Titan's Mitt, and we will need those to see what's going to happen in Turtle Rock.
You know, at this point, I know we found the flippers in Skull Woods, but did we find the second item? There's only 2 items in Skull Woods. I'm interested in that if that fire rod that we found in Pendant Eastern Palace will end up being our key to the next kind of breadcrumb that we're looking for.
Yep, that could definitely happen. The fire rod gives access to the back of Skull Woods. That's 1 chest and the item which is on the boss Mothula. Either of those could be the second item, and if it happens to be the Titan's Mitt, eventually everyone will have to be routed that way to pick up their overworld progression item.
And here's Kern, who's finally going over to East Death Mountain and says, you know what? I bet you it's here.
That's a decent fight Walter as well. and you see Solsky sort of passing by him as well, giving the high five. He's headed round to the attic in the same dungeon.
Chad also pointing out there's another possibility that I completely forgot about in Swamp Palace, which is a crystal, requires the mirror. We have the hook shot now, too.
It's the most items out of any dungeon as well. It holds 6. So, with the flippers, Swamp, Hammer, hook shot, yeah, it's definitely completable. So, here's where it's on the left side, and some people are going to skip that and go straight to the boss, and as well, we did say earlier, there are still trolls that could be had. So we see that the sick kid had a piece of heart there. And there's 50 rupees in the brewery. Walter taking out the rest of the Thieves Town Village of Outcast checks. Kern finding a big 20.
Alright, so let's start taking stock of what else we will need for the rest of this run. We know we need the boots at some point. We know we need the Titansmiths at some point. We have the fire rod. We know we'll need the ice rod at some point. Is that it?
The red cane is going to be necessary for Turtle Rock as well.
Well, we know where that is.
Yep, some players already have that. We'll also need to find out what the medallion is on top of Turtle Rock. We haven't seen that yet, and three of our runners on the stream have Bomb Boss already, but we've not seen Ether or Quake, and it could be any of those. Also, we haven't seen any sword upgrades beyond the initial fighter sword that everyone has found. So you need at least the Master Sword enabled to fight Ganon at the end of the game. Obviously our runners will be hoping for the Tempered Sword. It makes that fight a lot easier, but you need at least Master Sword. If you don't have that, you cannot complete the game. Solsky finishing up his Thieves Town and getting his crystal from there, as well as his complimentary red rupee. We see Kern actually going back now into Skull Woods with the fire rod.
Yep, there are the flippers, so that's one.
Oh. It's Brewers who went into Skull Woods the first time, not Kern. But he's found his flippers, and he has the potential to complete the whole dungeon right now. It is crystal as well, so being able to do Skull Woods all in one go is going to be of great benefit.
Yes, it's Skull Woods. Yes, you can complete it all in one go. But you have Fighter Sword.
Yeah, there is that. It is a nuisance fighting against Mothula. I'm just going to leave it like that. It is a nuisance fighting against Mothula.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter what you have. It's just a nuisance fighting against the Mothula.
Yeah, that room just makes it a really horrible fight. The Mothula as a boss, as a concept, is fairly straightforward. You hit her with the sword, or the fire rod, or the hammer, and she takes it, and eventually she'll die. But with that boss room, with the spikes moving back and forth, if you hit her at an unfortunate time, she gets hit by that spike, it overrides the damage that you've dealt, and because she's programmed not to take any damage from spikes, it will just deal 0 damage instead.
Those murder dactyls were chasing Solsky pretty close there for a little bit. Meanwhile, we have a Skull Woods party Walter over here, he does not also have the fire rod, has not dipped into Eastern Palace for that yet.
But he's also found his flippers, and now he should be thinking, oh dear, have other people found these flippers? It's interesting. It's in a race situation. Do you feel that other people may have gone to Skullwoods ahead of you, even though they might not have the fire rod?
You know, that's a great question, just because of how open this seed was to start with.
You have some new information. Kern going into the back of the Skullwoods now. He's going to ignore the chest down the stairs and around the hall. He's going straight round to the back. So Mothula is on his mind, and he's going to be going for that first.
Yeah, I was worried about that. Kern actually let the first lamp burn too long, and now is going to have to wait for them all to reset. That's going to diminish his magic power that he can even use once he gets to Mothula itself anyway. Meanwhile, Brewer's fan is on Helmasaur King right now. Solsky on his way over to do Palace of Darkness. Walter noped out after finding, I believe he found the flippers while up in Skullwoods, but because it doesn't have the fire rod, left.
Yeah, so he's decided to go around the overworld, and he'll be checking a couple of other locations. So Kern is in the back of the Skullwoods and trying to fight Mothula. It's been quite difficult so far.
I mean, is Mothula ever not difficult?
Sometimes gets stuck in the corner and doesn't get hit by spikes and goes down easily. It looks like he's made some significant progress with some spin attacks and trying to get the hammer involved here as well, obviously for more damage. But he's on 1 heart now, and he's still only on green armor, and takes an unfortunate death.
Patience is the name of the game with Mothula. If you're not patient, if you make too many risky plays, it's not going to come to fruition. Kern taking a timeout, going to get this other treasure chest in the meantime. Again, the second item could be here.
Yeah, not being able to return to that fight with any magic, especially as you don't have half magic either, it's going to be extremely painful because you will have difficulties getting back to that room, having to go through Big John's favourite room, the Fire Rod room. There is a song attached to that as well. But yeah, that's just... that's really hard lines. He's going to have to hunt for some magic before trying to go back and face off against Mothula again.
And I did not see if that last item was there, if he was able to pick that up in that location. Yeah, and it looks like Kern is coming over here to bomb this wall out. Not many people know this, but behind this bombable wall is a full magic pot, which, if you need to, it's quite handy.
Yeah, always being able to find those valuable items when you need them, whether it's an extra heart to bolster your strength, or to find that extra bomb or arrows, or sometimes finding a full magic, knowing that those items are there, can really help out.
Alright, so Walter coming over here, and looks like he is going to be checking what's on the island, the Lake Hylia island. I don't think we've actually gotten a peek at this yet.
I don't think we have, because everyone has been excited to go up the mountain and all the other fun things that we had at the start of the seed, before the Dark World access. No one actually came over that way to check what's on the island, and only a few people have gone to check what's under the bridge and what's with the hobo.
All right, so Kern's coming back, going to try again. Trying to stun enemies. The stun prize is actually a heart right now, so trying to stun enemies to get those hearts as best he can.
Yeah, knowing what the stun prize is very valuable. And of course, that's one of the options which gets randomized as well. When we do a randomizer seed, we randomize quite a lot of things.
This is true. All right, Kern versus Mothula, round 2.
We wish you good luck, sir. Put that moth menace down. Meanwhile, we have Solsky taking on Palace of Darkness, and he's going to be finding his Fire Rod. Wait, Fire Rod? Fire Rod's in Eastern, isn't it?
Fire Rod is in Eastern, and Kern's the only one who's gone there.
I meant his hookshot. He's already found it. The hookshot was on the bridge. So I believe that he's found everything in this dungeon. So he's going to be headed off to Helmasaur King right now. And he'll be collecting his 3rd crystal.
Oh, quite the clutch kill there by Kern, and he's rewarded with a big 20.
Yeah, that's well, at least he got the crystal.
I mean, yes, he got the crystal, so that's good. I mean, he doesn't have Thieves Town, which all the other runners have. But he's got Skull Wedge, which none of the other runners have. And he's in a position to be able to do that much better than anyone else right now.
We just had the Bombos tablet check from Brewers, and that's another 20 rupees, so another tablet that we're not coming back for. So I think all the book locations so far have been a bust. So don't expect any of our runners to be in collecting those items in this seed.
No, and we are seeing some new information from Brewers Fan. Looks like he's going to be taking a dip into the Swamp Palace, which is going to be new information for all of us. Logically, it's really the only place left with any progression that we can find.
Walter has just gone down and checked the first chest in Swamp and getting Heart Container. And he does have the hammer and the hookshot, the 2 items required to traverse this dungeon. So he may full clear this, he may go left side, but if he finds enough to be going on with, he may just decide to skip right to the back and come back later.
Okay, and yes, Walter was in there before Brewers. I'm sorry. That's what I get for, you know, only watching one half of the screen for a little bit.
It's difficult when we have to divide our brain in like 4 directions, so...
And if you're like me, you only have half a brain to start with, and then you're dividing that half brain 4 times? I mean, come on.
Kern has now discovered where the red cane is, and he's going to be climbing up through the bumper cave. He did a little double take there as well. He said, wait, what's up there? I might need that. And Skolsky finishing off Palace of Darkness.
Alright, there's the big key, so we'll see if Walter will check the big key, if he's going to even try left side, or if he's going straight to the back. What are those?
Oh my goodness. You know, you suddenly get that jolt of energy, that second wind in the seed when you find the boots, especially if they're required, but we gotta go fast now.
it's like all of that muscle memory that you had when practicing no major glitch strats. You can finally utilize all of that.
Yeah, being able to jump down cliffs, being able to run around. You know, it's liberating.
A little bit, yeah, it absolutely is. Solski is making a move here. He's actually in Eastern Palace. Oh! Walter also finds the Titan's mitts.
I'm just not going to get any trolling today, am I? I mean, he's found...
Well...
I don't think he's found any dungeon items yet, so he may be finding everything in the route without having to do the left side at all.
Well, let's be realistic here. So we know where everything we need for sure is now, except we still need some swords, of course. And then we still need that ice rod. And that ice rod can be literally anywhere except past Trinex. So we know that because Turtle Rock is going to be one of the 5-6 crystals, that it's not going to be in the Pyramid Fairy. It's also not going to be anywhere in Ganon's Tower. But otherwise, that ice rod could be anywhere. So right now, you're just hoping that you do not find things like the flute, which would unlock all of Misery Mire.
Yeah, I mean, it could literally be anywhere other than those locations, which is still just over 190. So that's almost the entire pool of items in the game. So at this point, really, you don't want to find any more progress. You don't want to be finding things like the flute to get you into Misery Mire. You just want to find the ice rod and be done with it, and then you can relax a bit.
Walter is showing us these wonderful PowerPoint strats, using the hook shot, switching while the hook shot is in the air over to the hammer. Quite slow, but it's kind of tough to do anything else.
It gets the job done. And speaking of getting the job done, down goes Argus. And that's another crystal. 4 down, 3 to go.
So if you are Walter and Brewers fan, and you just got this wonderful treasure trove of items in both the Titansmith and the other item that we have, and the boots. What do you do? Where do you go now?
Well, the boots give you a couple of locations. The Bonk Rocks next to the Sanctuary, the two combined give you the King's Grave. Also, the boots gives you that access to the Desert Palace that we so need to get the crystal from there. The Golden Gloves by themselves don't really offer that much because it gives you easier access to the Dark World through Thieves Town. It gives you access to Ice Palace. With the flute, it gives you access to Misery Mire. But it does give you the Dark World, Death Mountain. So we may see people headed up that way. With the Hookshot Cave, Super Bunny Cave, of course, and they'll be able to figure out what is the medallion requirement to get into Turtle Rock as well. So apart from Death Mountain East, Golden Gloves, not that much, but with the boots as well, there are definitely some places left to be checked.
This is true. All right, so we see Kern now finally doing Thieves Town. Walter opted to use his shiny new boots to go ahead and do Desert Palace. Brewers fan is going to go ahead and check the left side of Swamp. Now, I believe there's only one item left in here, and if it's something of value, that'll be great. Otherwise, he's wasting a lot of time. I know left side Swamp is popular to go ahead and skip once you can.
There's definitely going to be a map over that side, but whether he's going to find more joy or if he's going to just, well, we have found a lot of other items in this game as well.
Also worth noting that with that greater access that both Walter and Brewers ended up finding, the downside to that is that it's opened up so much more. That means they're going to be searching for that fire rod in a whole lot more locations, while Kern and Solsky already have the fire rod.
I've been informed by chat that I'm mistaken. Other players who have gone through the swamp have already found the map as well as the compass and big key, so there are 2 items on the left side of swamp for the taking. So one of these items, or 2 of these items, could actually be incredibly useful.
Well, the only useful item that we're hoping to find is the ice rod. Anything else that's useful, all it does is unlock stuff. Unless it's the medallion that we'll need for Turtle Rock eventually. Or silvers, you know, that's a thing.
I've heard that those can accelerate you through the game a little bit, as can the flute. However, that also gives us the option of Misery Mire now, and
oh my! I mean, yay for silvers. They will absolutely help you in Ganon. And let's face it, Left Side Swamp is not any place that I can envision most other runners going. However, with that flute, if something is in Misery Mire, in the shed or Misery Mire proper, then that's great for Brewers. If it's not, that's going to just be a huge rabbit hole that is going to waste a lot of time. Meanwhile, Walter is over here fighting the land molus.
of course, not having the value of those silver arrows which were found in Swamp, he's going a slightly slower strategy, but he's able to finish off very quickly. And that's another crystal. He has 5.
Yeah, he's doing very, very well. He's got Skullwoods and Turtle Rock left, so he's going to be looking for those rods right now. Fire and Ice Rod. We know where the Fire Rod is. The problem is, so much has opened up to him. He's got to go, at this point, into either Pendant Ice or Eastern Palace. Or, you know, Dark Death Mountain.
Dark Death Mountain sounds a lot nicer than Fire Rodless Ice Palace. Especially as it's a pendant dungeon and not required at all. Well, we say it's not required at all. It may be required, but it's not a crystal. So he is going over, and he will be checking the Dark World on Death Mountain East.
Meanwhile, Solsky just keeps on plugging along. Even after that, he's going to be diving right here into the Swamp Palace. We'll see what decisions he ends up making vis-a-vis the left side.
It'd be interesting to see at what point he stops and does the left side. I know that Brewers actually killed Argus and then went back for the 2 items after finding the compass.
Oh, so Kern is actually doing the fake powder glitch right now on the Magic Bat. And this slideshow.
More news as we have it. Walter, in the meantime, is going to be checking the hookshot.
Yep, Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny Cave. This is good spots here. 10 bombs.
Some 50 rupees, some heart containers, some 20 rupees. So he's found a lot of money in there. It doesn't seem as though there's much in the way of value there. But he's going to be checking Turtle Rock Medallion. That's 100% needed to know. Most of our runners are lucky. He also found Quake, so he was a little happier, or safer in the knowledge that a 2 in 3 chance is better than a 1 in 3 chance. But it turns out it is Bombos, and all of our runners do have it because they found it early on top of the pyramid. It looks as though it's being opened up, but we'll have to see whether Walter will actually have a peek in without the fire or the ice rod.
Yeah, that means he's gonna learn real fast if most of Turtle Rock ends up being fire rod locked. There's only one treasure chest accessible, and if it's not a small key, then you are just locked out of most of the dungeon.
Which could be a blessing, because rather than having to keep exploring through Turtle Rock, being denied and told, no, the fire rod isn't here, you must search elsewhere first, that can sometimes be very beneficial.
All right, here's the time. Walter, what are you going to show us? Skolsky picking up, and it's the big key. So for sure the fire rod is not in here. That's good news for Walter.
Skolsky headed into the back of the Swamp Palace, and he's just picked up his golden gloves.
Meanwhile, Brewers fan is calling his duck, and the goose is loose, ladies and gentlemen. We have our teleportation for the game. Here we go. Does that mean... No, Brewers is not going to be using it immediately.
Not just yet, he's headed back into the Dark World. So maybe, in his mind, there are a couple of checks that he would still like to do in this area first, before going anywhere else that he would like to with the flute. We have Walter doing a spike cave jack. And he just gets a bundle of sticks for his trouble. Solsky having a time with Argus. We also see Brewers taking on the Hammer Pegs.
Yeah, the pegs and the Jeremiah loop here is really good to cash in with this. Just a big 20 on the pegs.
I remember when I was starting this, just being able to see that hammer dash is such a cool motion, being able to just dash with your hammer out and take out all those pegs in one go.
Okay, here comes Walter. He is committing to Fire Rodless Bombos Ice Palace.
That's, he's a brave man.
Okay, so I mean, it's not all bad news. He has the boots, and he has the hook shot, and he has the red cane. He also only has the fighter sword, which I don't know if you guys know this, but the fighter sword doesn't do a whole lot of damage. Period.
Yeah, for all the other swords, they have a different poke, normal slash, and spin slash damage. For the fighter sword, it's just one. It's just one unit of damage at all levels.
Oh, looks like Brewers did end up picking up the Master Sword, so we have a vanilla sword from the Smiths.
You wouldn't have thought you would have seen that from them, but there we go. Swordsmiths are actually swordsmiths today. The Master Sword is definitely going to give us an item that we need for fighting Ganon. So, and that's the first upgrade we found since we found the sword really early on. here comes Walter's bomb jump.
I think he has it. Yep.
Gets it off without a hitch.
Walter's a very good runner. That could be a rough spot if you don't have... I mean, some people use like the pixels on the sword to measure where they're going to be, but I believe he uses his shadow, so he was able to line up pretty well there.
It's definitely one of the tricks that you sort of need to know. If you're doing runs of the no major glitches any percent or randomizer, just knowing that trick saves a lot of time, and it is a really big sequence break for Ice Palace in general. It just makes the whole thing so much easier. It saves so much time.
Solsky, meanwhile, getting ready to fight Lanmo. He did not pick up the silvers, but he does have the fire rod, so he's going to have still a pretty quick fight on Lanmo himself.
Well, it's also noted in chat, well done to the trackers for keeping on top of all these items for us. We would not be able to cast very well without the continued dedication of our trackers, so please give them some love and hype in the chat. They do a really important job, and we couldn't do this without them.
All right, here's Brewers fan who is going to be showing us some new tech, and it's bombos for Misery Mire as well. So double bombos required for Misery Mire and Turtle Rock. We'll see if Brewers has saved the indignity of going down in there. There is the ice rod.
Oh boy.
Oh.
So suddenly that value has multiplied definitely from exploring the left side of the swamp.
So, even though right now Brewers does not have the fire rod, and there's a tempered sword in Checkerboard Cave, because why not?
Holy value Batman. He's found a better way to find Ganon. He's found an item which is 100% required for completing Turtle Rock. I believe he is a fire rod away from go mode. You might not know this yet, but with the privilege of being able to see 4 races all at once, 4 perspectives all at once, he is just a fire rod away from getting himself to go mode.
He is, and here's the problem. Brewers is now going up to check Turtle Rock immediately, or check the vicinity. He does not know what's up here. This is, I mean, he's going to get knowledge once he comes up here, but that's it. So we now know for a fact that Walter 4 is wasting his time, full stop, in Ice Palace here.
And even with the Ice Palace bomb jump, it is a considerable amount of time that you have to invest in Ice Palace to check for all the items and to kill the boss Cold Stare. So that is a considerable amount of time he will lose to Brewers taking on this boss, which he doesn't need to do.
Yeah, he's going to be Fighter Sword Cold Stare for grins. I mean,
yeah.
That's...
It was mentioned in chat, some people were confused whether he could actually fight Cold Stare or not. And the answer is he can. It's just that for some bosses later on in the game, you actually can only damage them with a fighter sword if you spin slash. And seeing as he doesn't have the fire rod, his options are spin slash with the sword or hitting with the hammer. Those are the only options he has right now.
Yeah, so what Brewers is going to do, he's going to come over here, he's going to open up Turtle Rock, he's going to figure out its fire rod lock, and then he's going to start going other places. Now, he also has a few different options. He knows, I mean, he's going to have to do Skull Woods regardless. So it's not going to be there. He'll have to decide whether he's going to Ice Palace or Eastern Palace. If I were Brewers in that case, I would probably go Eastern knowing how quick it is.
Yeah, especially with the boots as well. In the normal vanilla game, you don't have the boots going into Eastern, but it just accelerates your pace through that dungeon so much. And compared to the other dungeons, it's relatively quick as well. So being able to make that check, and then if you don't find what you're looking for, be able to leave quickly as well.
And question in chat, Bugasu is asking, why does the big key right away mean fire rod locked? This room that Solsky is in requires the fire rod to get past it, and it contains 2 treasure chests that are locked behind it. There is a key that locks the rest of the dungeon other than these 3 treasure chests. So you see those 2 keys there. So if that one treasure chest that does not require the fire rod to get to it doesn't have a small key, it absolutely dictates that the rest of the dungeon is locked behind the fire rod and this room.
You see Brewer's heading on over to open up Turtle Rock, and he will soon find out that the fire rod is required before entering this dungeon. He'll find a big key, but that's all he's going to find. While Solsky is going to continue venturing and find half magic in the room with the obvious crossover.
I mean, all of Turtle Rock is clearly a Mario shout-out.
You'd think so. I mean, there were chain chomps as well, and we all have
chomps, pits of lava, fire snakes.
We all have some choice words to say about those chain chomps as well, which will not be repeated in this stream.
PG only stream, thank you. Yeah, and the issue that Walter is going to have, or Solsky is going to have, I'm sorry, is that he's going to end up completing the entirety of Turtle Rock, knowing that, I mean, we know where the ice rod is. He's going to be finding or searching for those items, and it's just not going to happen. Brewers looks like he's going to be checking over here in the Spike Cave. Now, it's not logically required yet, I don't believe.
I think it's doable with the cape, actually. I think the logic does take into account the cape instead of the blue cane.
Well, cape plus half magic, or just the blue cane. Like, the cape uses too much magic to be able to get through without taking any damage. The logic presumes one-hit KO.
Hopefully those 10 arrows were worth the trip.
I think so. Not really. So, Brewers. Okay, you can go to Misery Mire, Ice Palace, or Eastern Palace. Which do you go to?
That's a tough question. I mean, Eastern is very quick, easy to take on. Ice Palace, he does have the fire rod, so it's acceleration through there rather than having to rely on Bombos the entire time. Misery Mire, don't have the flute just yet, so that's ruled out. So Eastern
I'm
or
talking
Ice?
for Brewers.
Oh, for Brewers.
Yeah.
I was looking at Kern's screen. Tough call then. Maya. I mean, the fire rod is required for some of it, or at least the fire rod helps for most of it. So it is an option. You can find the fire rod in there. Eastern is quicker. Ice Palace has a green pendant attached to it. It's actually a really tough call.
Well, it looks like Brewers is going to make the Ice Palace call, which he's going to have a considerably easier time than Walter did in there because, one, he has Tempered Sword over Fighter Sword. He does not have the Fire Rod, although it does look like Walter did find the Fire Rod finally.
Brewers seems to have decided against it.
Oh, probably picking up magic because of Bombos requirements.
Yeah.
You never want to be completely out.
It does eat up a lot of your magic meter using that medallion, as well as being the slowest animation out of all 3. But yeah, looking at it logically, Eastern Palace has 3 items, Ice Palace has 3 items plus a green pendant, and Maya only has 2. So when you think about it like that, Ice Palace technically has more items, so maybe that's why he would head there first. But it seems as though, now that he's out there in the open, he's actually just set a portal behind, and he's going to be going to Eastern first. And when he's finished with Eastern, in theory, he could then just flute back to the location by the lake, jump in the portal, and back in to Ice.
Well, and he's not going to get that far. He's going to find the fire rod here, and he's in go mode then. So Brewers is set up. It will be the first one in go mode unless something absolutely wacky happens.
He's found the big key, so that's the first part of the puzzle. Now all he needs to do is open the big chest. Of course, he doesn't know this. We have the benefit of knowledge, but so he will do a full sweep of the area first. But he is set on that path now, and the game is all available to him.
And ladies and gentlemen, this entire setup for Brewers fan and what he's going to be able to do is set up 100% from that left side swamp check. Not only did that lead to the silvers, but the flute and the ice rod was on in the Meyer shed, in addition to the tempered sword being in that checkerboard cave. Left side swamp led to more goodies than anything at this point in time. There were 2 items on left side swamp, so they had cleared out, everyone had cleared out everything else and did not go back in to check. That's a risk sometimes you take.
I may have been mistaken in my fire rod placement. It's keys in this dungeon though. Instead, Brewers will pick up a bottle with a fairy in it. That may come into play later.
Well, we saw how Curtin used that fairy in a bottle earlier with his super Gary strats.
Walter's now taken out Mothula. He's still...
Yeah, he's doing his ped check. And there it is. Brewers fan with the fire rod at 1:27:11 is officially in go mode.
Walter has to make some tough choices now. He has 6 crystals. He knows that he needs the ice rod to complete Turtle Rock. It looks like he's headed over that way right now, and he's hoping that he may be able to find the ice rod on the way, possibly. But as we know, that is not going to happen. And it all came down to that skipping of Swamp East side, Swamp West side, the left side.
And Brewers fan is in go mode. He's just going to be flying through here. Both Walter and Kern seem to be making the dips into Turtle Rock at about the same time. They both now have the fire rod. Everyone has the fire rod. The problem is that ice rod, which of course is going to troll our runners. Of course, from left side swamp. You know, Doc, you wanted some trolls. Are you happy with this troll in this race?
I think so. I mean, sometimes forcing a player to go over to the left side makes it a little bit evil, a little bit delicious. And sometimes you don't have to go over that side to complete the boss, and you just go and leave, and you take your chances that you don't have to go over there. But this time, going over there for Brewers has definitely paid off in significant returns. He's now 2 sword upgrades ahead. He has the ice rod with full knowledge that he can complete Turtle Rock. It could have all spectacularly backfired, finding that flute and being forced on a road that you don't know whether it's going to pay off or not. Going to the mire area and then finding all those items, the ice rod, and the sword upgrade, and now he's in a comfortable lead.
I will say, in everyone else's defense, though, that is about the most stacked I've ever seen the possibilities of coming from Left Side Swamp. Not only do you find silvers, but you also find the flute, which leads you to both the ice rod and which is your last item that you need, but also a quick tempered sword. That is as stacked as I've ever seen Left Side. So I can absolutely understand why people would skip it, given that it's a long check. I mean, it's a good minute and a half to get back there after you've already completed the dungeon, and it's so rarely worth anything. Just This time it was loaded.
The time versus the amount that you're expected to get out of the check is normally really low. It's a large time investment, and most of the time it won't pay off. But in this case, being able to get how many 4, 5 significant quality of life upgrades, including the item which is the most difficult to find in the ice rod, which is 100% required.
Who is the tracker? We have 2 trackers today. We have both Sinhei and Michael K doing all the work, making it look easy.
Yeah, absolutely. We would not have as good a quality of stream without our trackers. It makes us look good. They make us look good.
I mean, not that we don't look good on our own, but they make us look extra good. Like Kim Kardashian's plastic surgeon good. Oh, maybe that was too much.
I don't know how to respond, so I'm just going to leave that one hanging. And you see Walter has now been checking the Mimic Cave. He's checked the big chest already in Turtle Rock. And now he's continuing to explore in this area, and he's just hoping that he's found the ice rod, and his working through the seed has led him to this point, and he's hoping that he's got a good gut reaction. He will find the ice rod before the boss on Laser Bridge.
Meanwhile, Brewer is now entering, and he's in full go mode, and he got the big key already, so he's going to be skipping quite a bit.
Yeah, all you need to do is make sure that you keep topped up on your small keys, and you don't really need to check for the items in this place, so you just need to make sure that you have all your small keys going forward and get to Trinex as quickly as possible.
And hey, Brewers, would you like just some extra half magic to help things out? Because you're not coming on the most magic-heavy use for a boss in the entire game, and you don't need it, right?
Yeah. Trinex is a magic sink. You have to put a lot of magic use in the Fire Rod and Ice Rod to get rid of him. But as well, he has the Tempered Sword, so he won't have to swap back and forth between whatever rod he's using and the hammer. That's always a nice thing as well.
You know, and it's interesting to see that all the other runners still have their fighter sword. That they got this. Brewer's got his second sword upgrade from doing the Jeremiah loop, and they've had that Titansmiths for quite a while now. I'm a little surprised that they're dipping into these other pendant dungeons prior to doing that loop.
Walter is taking his time going down Laser Bridge, checking all of these chests. He's found the small key required to get into that side door, but he's found both the map and the compass as well, and now he knows that he needs to find the ice rod elsewhere, and he's now going to be racking his brains, thinking, where haven't I checked? Where could this possibly be? And I think Kern has come to the same conclusion. He's taking a death there to save and quit. Oh no, he's going to be checking the Mimic Cave. But the same sort of conclusion is going to be reached very shortly. The Ice Rod is not here in this area.
Question in chat, where was the flute again? Flute, that's the story of the match. It was on the left side of Swamp Palace.
And all of our runners on the stream so far, they have completed Swamp, but Brewers has been the only one to check over that left side. And so he's currently the only player in Go mode on the stream. And he is making his way to the back. He has a small key in hand, so he doesn't need to do the laser bridge unless he really wants to.
I don't think he really wants to.
Yeah. When you can smell blood, that's when you know you need to go for the kill, and he is going for it. He sees the goal. He's going for Trinex, and he's right next to Ganon's tower as well, so I think he might be feeling confident here.
Yep, already got the second one down, and he managed to switch to the rod early, so he's going to keep Trinex from making a mess on the floor. This is a beautiful Trinex fight here.
Yeah, having to swap items in the middle of this fight can be troublesome at times, especially as you can't actually access that sub-menu whilst any part of a boss is exploding. So that was a particularly good fight.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is our 7th and final crystal for Brewers fan JP. You know what that means. We are getting ready for everyone's favorite guessing game. There are 22 treasure chests in Ganon's Tower that could possibly contain the Ganon's Tower Big Key. Go ahead, get your guesses in chat, 1 through 22. Which is it going to be? 12th Doc, my good sir. What's going to be your guess?
Well, people who've watched my stream and have been good enough to come here and support these runners as well, they know that my guess, as always, is 12.
Nice. Going with 12. I'm going to go with number 9 right at the moment.
Yeah. There are reasons I like the number 12, not just because it's my name, but also 12 places the chest right in the center of the randomizer room. So that is, it's just double lucky for me for that reason. We have Walter and Solsky have both checked for the sword upgrade with the Smiths. You see Brewers is now going down left side, right side didn't hold anything for him. Skipping the item on Bob's torch. We have people asking as well, where is the ice rod? The ice rod was found in the Misery Mire area. It was found in the Mire shed, in fact. So to get there, you would need the flute, which is in the left side of Swamp. You need to activate the flute and release the duck from his prison. Fly over to the Mire area. Get into the shed and obtain the ice rod, and also while you're there you can check out the checkerboard cave and get an extra sword upgrade for practically free.
There was a question in chat, what was Solsky doing emptying his magic? He was doing the fake powder glitch, which does in fact require you to have no magic. You have to, well, 0 magic, you have to use the Cane of Samaria, and while it's doing that sort of sound that indicates that you have no magic, you switch quickly over to the mushroom, and that will enable you to do that particular one. All right, Brewers is coming up on number 9, and it's, no, just a small key.
Well, we are headed to Randomizer room, so everyone's favourite room in this dungeon.
Yep, called the Rando room because there's really no reason to ever go to it unless you're in Rando. Like, the treasures are not worth it at all.
Yeah, there's normally junk in there. Not today though, we found the Swagnet, the most valuable item in all of Zelda. We also found the Ether Medallion, that's the 3rd, he's got the set now.
Yep, and 10, 11, 12, and 13 are not there. I should announce we do have some winners, community members who have finished. Ack the Bacher finished in first place of 137.22, followed closely by Ninjembro at 137.32. So Ack sniped Ninjembro by 10 seconds. Also right in there, Hi Cutie Pie at 137.42. Roach 788 also finished in 4th at 139.52. So GG to those folks.
Brewers has still not found the big key, following the normal strategy to navigate this dungeon, and so he's going to be facing off against Armos Knights 2, or as I like to call this fight, Disney on Ice. It's they all dance around, but you've got ice to contend with as well.
It is a magical journey. There's the powder. Solsky and Walter are now back in Swamp Palace. I think they figured it out at this point.
We have found the big key. It was left of its standard location. In the order he activated those chests, that was number 17. So congratulations if you picked 17.
The first one that I see at number 17 was Abnaxis, 1126. GG.
We see Solsky is now headed up the left side of Swamp, so he will soon be realizing what's exactly happening in this seed. But that's what happens. Skipping left is a gamble, and in this case, a lot of our players on the stream, they did skip that left side. Brewers is now climbing up, he's just one room away from the area that we call the Gauntlet, and it's all because of that left side check. Going back in after completing the boss and finding the progression which ultimately led him to the Ice Rod and Go mode. See that Walter also has found the flute and activated his duck, and now he will be able to head over, and he is going straight to the Maya area via the desert.
Here's the interesting thing, though. Once they get that Ice Rod, they're going to be in Go mode. They're not even going to go check Checkerboard Cave for that extra.
No, they won't. They may think about it, doing it whilst they're in the same area, but on their minds, having found the Ice Rod, their now main concern is how quickly can I complete Turtle Rock and how quickly can I climb the tower.
Absolutely. So Brewers now finishing his Landmo 2 fight, still climbing, still doing very well.
Walter has decided to skip on the checkerboard, so he is going back to Turtle Rock with only the Master Sword. And we haven't seen a sword upgrade in Ganon's Tower on Brewer's side, so unless it's on the right side of the dungeon, There might not be a sword upgrade in here, or it could be actually further up the tower. We haven't seen what's at the top of the tower yet. But the difference between Master Sword and the Tempered Sword in the fight against Ganon at the end of the game is incredibly significant.
Absolutely. And oh, Brewers fan just fell. He might have to... Yeah, he's going to take some time, let that one run out, and go again. Yep. Solsky did find the sword. He went and got it and was like, wait, I'm in go mode.
It's always nice knowing that your go mode is very soon, and then getting that sword upgrade on the way to fight Ganon. It just makes the fight so much... It's just nicer, it's quicker, it's easier. Rather than having to do spin slashes on Ganon with the Master Sword, you can just hit him directly.
I predict, because right now it's kind of a foot race between Walter and Solsky here. I predict that Temper Sword is going to make the difference, and Solsky will eventually bypass Walter, unless there's another sword that on the right side that someone gambles that we don't know about. Yeah, but I'm guessing right now.
Unforeseen circumstances. I do think that Temper Sword is going to make a difference. We haven't seen any of the chests being checked by Brewers on the way up this tower. Anything after Gauntlet, we have no idea what's in them, so there could be a sword upgrade, and Walter could be really lucky.
Alright, so here we come to our Agate 2 fight, Geometry Wizard. One, zero. Oh, this might be a pretty good setup. Or not. And Geometry Wizard is just giving Brewers all sorts of fits today. There's a double. Oh, and the late one.
That's a near miss. But that one will finish him off. Am I right in saying, though, that because all these seeds are the same, that the pattern for Aghanim 2 is the same as well? I have a feeling that it is, so everyone is going to have this mess to deal with eventually.
Absolutely. Couple more finishers, Bonta in 5th at 146.40. Hayfield Bay in 6th at 147.32, and Nolly in 7th place at 147.35. GG, guys. That's a 3-second difference between Hayfield and Nolly. That might be a tie.
For those of you still recovering from the tie in the tournament that we had as well, here's another one. Obviously with not as much significance, but still equally impressive that runners are able to finish within such a close time of each other.
Ganon just keeps on teleporting.
Yeah, he's playing hopscotch across the arena. He just does not want to stop. That'll end it though. Now into the final phase of this fight.
Kern, meanwhile, is still searching for that rod.
He's still standing pretty much the same position. 6 crystals in hand, but no idea where the ice rod is.
I think he knows. I think he's on his way there.
Ganon finishing exploding for Brewers. Impressive seed from him. He's going to claim first place of the players who have been on the stream. And there's time.
Yep, officially, Brewers fans finished in 8th place with a time of 1:49.02. Good job, Brewers fan JP.
Yeah, this seed was particularly nasty. It seemed that the game was open wide from the start, and then it sort of all came to a bottleneck at the end, and he was just able to pick the seed apart and get the job done quicker.
And we'll see if we can't get him in here for an interview. Both Walter and Solsky are now climbing. Walter still with a bit of an edge. He's about a minute or so ahead of Solsky right now. So here comes Kern, finally doing left side swamp. And joining us now is Brewers fans JP. GG on the finish, man.
Oh, thank you.
So, what do you think made the difference in this race, placing you so high?
I'm guessing left side swamp, getting the flute that led to Ice Rod?
Yeah, just a little bit. It was, I mean, none of the other featured runners did left side swamp when you guys were in there, and it was all relatively close up till that point in time. But that is the most stacked left side I've ever seen with the silvers flute leading to both Ice Rod and your third Tempered Sword.
Wow. Yeah, that's right. Tempered Sword was behind that too. Yeah, what saved me was I rethought Ice Palace.
Yeah, we were watching this and we were discussing which of the 3 pendant dungeons are you most likely to go into, and the reason that Ice is possibly up there for just the number of items that are available. But then you sort of held off and thought, ooh, I might need to get more magic for this, and then you reconsidered and went completely elsewhere.
Yeah, that was basically it. When I went in there, I pulled out my bombos down and I was like, wait, I only have half a magic bar. I'm gonna have to bombos through this. And then I was just realizing Eastern's there. It's really quick. It costs me maybe 2 to 3 minutes if there's nothing there. So let's just go ahead and knock that out first.
It obviously paid off as the correct decision there. We were discussing what is the factor in your mind. Do you think of the dungeon being quick to complete, or do you factor in which has the more items? And you obviously decided to pause in Ice Palace and reconsider that decision as well.
Yeah, if it was Fire Rod and I was looking for Bombos, I might have gone through Ice Palace, either way. But when I got into Ice Palace, when I realized my magic situation, and then I realized, you know, Eastern's still sitting there, like I said, it's a quick check. I mean, in terms of item density, yeah, Ice Palace was 4 items, essentially with Green Pendant. But I figured, let's just go ahead and knock out Eastern quick. You know, I guess that's more plays to my style. If I was a riskier player, I guess I would have probably done Ice right away. Because if there's something there, then that's a big jump. Yeah, for the most part, I'm happy with how I played that. I feel like my early routing was a little off because it took me a little longer to find the Moon Pearl. But other than that, I felt like my routing was really nice.
How did you like the items just being so open during the escape, finding all those helpful items on the way there?
Well, I mean, it's nice to have an open start like that, but it really opens up because, like, you don't know where to go. Like, you know, you had Desert accessible early, you had Hera accessible early. Yeah, you could technically go to Eastern and clear that out, which you needed to do either way. But, like, when I got that bow, my first thought is, okay, should I just do the Eastern dive right away? So I pulled up my map, I saw his pendant, and like, let's hold.
Yeah, we also discussed at that point all 3 of the Light World dungeons were accessible, and 2 of them were completable. Obviously, we weren't sure about Desert at the time, and it did require boots in the end. But just the access, there was a lot of Light World access, and trying to find the Pearl was... I think it was actually difficult for all of our featured runners.
That makes sense with the sea as open as it was. I mean, Death Mountain was the right play, you just had to wait to get the hammer. But I like to do a Tower of Hera rush when I can, especially in a situation where it's a crystal, because it's such a fast dungeon. Yeah, beyond that, I mean, it was a really nice route going into Dark World, because I was able to go, well, from the front of Skull Woods, and just basically loop the entire Dark World.
Oh, Solsky takes a death. I think he has that fairy that's going to save him, though, yeah.
That's very fortunate. That would have been a costly trip back downstairs, as it was the 4th room in Gauntlet, and it does take a while to get back up to that position.
Meanwhile, Solsky and Walter are just... They're entering Lane Mode 2 at the same time.
You have to consider this is sort of impressive as well, as Solsky had that unfortunate reset at the very start of the game.
Yeah, I saw you mention that in the IRC chats. What happened with him?
So what happened with Solsky is that he went through the entirety of the escape sequence, finished escape, you guys have found the mushroom in there, and he opted to go right over to turn the mushroom in, saw it was a single arrow, and reset, realizing he hadn't done a save and quit yet?
Oh, that's rough.
So he had to restart the entirety of the escape sequence, and that took another 7 minutes, and meanwhile everyone else is exploring the joy which was Kakariko and finding all of those items.
Yeah, yeah, well, I in a way don't feel too bad. It looks like I would have finished ahead of him either way, so there's at least that. Sorry, Solsky, if you listen to this.
It was absolutely one of those situations where it's like, oh, this is going to be bad. But he's played well. I mean, Solsky is not a bad runner in any capacity. He has played as well as you'd expect him to play through the rest of this.
Oh yeah, Solsky is a great runner. I have no doubt on his abilities. He's really good at this.
He's actually just overtaken Walter, and it seems as like they're neck and neck heading into the Boldorm 2 fight. So it is that edge. He also checked the Checkerboard Cave, getting the Temper Sword upgrade, whilst Walter opted to leave the Maya area immediately after getting Ice Rod. And so he's still fighting his way up the tower with Master Sword.
Oh, is he? Solsky's trying it, and he fell. He tried to hover, but Trolldorm 2 gets Walter 4 too. What?
As if this battle out couldn't be any more tense, Moldorm decides, you know what, you can go in the pit as well.
And he hits Solsky down.
Taking Solsky down. I didn't have the opportunity to knock you down last time. Here, let me push you in.
Again. 4.
This is why we call him Trolldorm.
And there's another fall for Solsky trying to do that hover strat.
We know that Andy is famous for this trick as well. The hover is an incredibly difficult trick to pull off, but we know our runners here, that they enjoy entertaining us as well as just playing the seed. So
Walter finishes and is over first. Solsky bombing the last chest just because.
Yeah, he didn't really want to see it, but he had no option, so when in doubt, bomb the chest.
Kern is... Oh! Kern,
Well, that was nice.
Kern was pausing his way through so that the hit never registered as he was dashing, so...
Yeah, the Master Sword doesn't allow you to run straight through that Lionel. It's only with Tempered or Gold Sword you can do that, so pause buffering to make sure he wasn't taking any damage on the way through. I've not seen that one before. That's well executed.
Oh, yeah. Very well done for Aga, too, for both of them. So they're both going to be entering Ganon's tower, or Ganon himself, almost at the same time. Again, that difference, that Tempered Sword is going to really make Solsky fly compared to Walter here.
Yeah, in each of the starting phases, you need to hit Ganon 12 times. With the Tempered Sword, you just need to hit him directly. With the Master Sword, you have to spin slash into him. And the later phase, same deal really. If you want to hit him, you have to spin slash with the Master Sword. It makes a huge difference, especially if you're playing this Silverless. You have to spin slash no matter what to do the Silverless kills. But with the Master Sword, instead of hitting him 12 times, you have to hit him 24 times. So there is a considerable time factor going into that fight with a level 2 sword instead of a level 3.
And Solsky is into the third phase right now. Ganon becomes the Dancing Queen. Oh no! Is that an actual death?
I believe it's so.
Solsky! Oh, Walter now looking pretty, although there's still a lot of difference.
The tension is still high. We thought it was going to be neck and neck coming out of the tower, and now it's neck and neck going back into Ganon. The thing is, it's not too far for Solsky to just rejoin the fight, because he just gets placed on top of the pyramid. But still, that's a significant loss in time, because he's still going to have to go back through phases 1 and 2 to get back to where he was, and he's still now playing catch-up against Walter, who is in phase 3, and he's looking close to getting to the final phase.
Yeah, keep in mind, Walter also has the silvers, so he's in phase 3. He won't have to hit that much frequently. Oh, this is going to come down to it. Walter doesn't quite get the torch glitch. One hit for Walter.
Oh no!
Oh no, and he fell!
Oh, that is devastating. Almost as bad as a death, falling down the side of the pit, down into the lower floors of the pyramid, resets the entire fight, even if you've killed Ganon, speaking from experience. But there we are, Solsky able to finish off Ganon in his final phase, and he's going to be our second place finisher from the featured streamers. Showing off with a little moonwalking to finish the seed.
And he crosses the bridge, finishes in 14th place. The time of 2:02:40. Oh man, that was something else. We'll put it that way.
Yes, Chatter's still recovering from Solsky almost putting himself in the pit. I have seen him do that trick before, and I had supreme confidence he wasn't going to throw it away after killing Ganon and, you know, fighting him entirely again.
Yeah, imagine Solsky effectively gave everyone a 7-minute head start, and to come back to second is just, I mean, that just speaks to the quality of the runners here. Brewers fan with superior routing didn't need the 7-minute head start, but man, Solsky certainly showing off a little bit here.
Checking in with Kern, he opted to do a full right side clear of Ganon's tower, so that helped him to get to his big key slightly quicker than the left route, but he still hasn't found an upgrade for his sword, so he will be entering the Ganon fight with a Master Sword as well. Unless he decides to check the chests in the upstairs, which again, no one on the featured stream has checked those upstairs chests. There could be a sword up there, but we don't know.
And joining us now is Solski. So, I'm going to guess you didn't intend to give people a 7-minute head start there.
Not intended, no. That's 4 months of muscle memory on SMZ3. Don't ask why. I just thought reset would have saved my game, but yeah. Not gonna go into it.
No, that's fine. I mean, it was interesting to see. Did you play any differently knowing that you had to make up some time there? Did you make any more gambles there?
Yes, I did. My Light World probably showed that. Going to Hera before going to South Shore, and I would have went to Hera anyways after South Shore because no hammer, but so that didn't really impact me. My Dark World route did though, because I like completely cut off South Dark World once I found that Red Cane, and Bombos and at Pyramid went right to Pod Eastern, and then when I found that, I was like, okay, I'm caught up, because like that South segment without boots is like 5 minutes. With everything in told, if I ran into Titans there too, so I was kind of hoping I wouldn't run into Titans late, and then it was like my second last item. But yeah, I definitely skipped left side swamp because of it.
And GG to Walter 4, who just finished in 16th place, 205.18. I got to say, you and Walter were neck and neck the entire time. Like, he entered Turtle Rock maybe like a minute before you, but he has been working with Master Sword instead of Tempered. He didn't pick up the one in Checkerboard. So you were like always creeping up, and by the time you got to Landmo is when you passed him, and then Moldorm happened, which you both fell quite a few times. It wasn't just you.
Yeah, don't feel too bad. I fell on Moldorm 1 a couple times.
We were watching the Moldorm 2 fight happen. You were attempting for the hover, and Walter was attempting to get some hits with the swords and the hammer. And then it was just like Moldorm was playing ping pong with both of you, knocking one of you down into the pit, and then the next one knocking you down into the pit. And we were unsure what was going to happen leaving the tower. And as it happened, you both killed Aghanim 2 at round about the same time, and went to the pyramid at the same time. So there was tension all the way from start of Ganon's tower right to the very end.
And then Ganon happened, and you took a death, Solski, and we were like, oh my god, but can he still catch up? And then, well, we'll explain what happened to Walter here soon. I know, GG, I mean, coming back from where you were, just an absolutely amazing run.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Yeah, GG Skolsky.
GG, guys. I mean, it feels a lot like 2017 right now. I mean, it was like a 25-person race, and Active Ochre won, so... I think I haven't been in races for like 4 months now in Link to the Past side, so it was a lot of fun, honestly, coming back for one. It's pretty cool.
All right, and joining us now is Walter 4. Walter, buddy, how you feeling?
Well, I can't say I'm too disappointed with the scene. Like, I'm pretty happy with how I performed. Maybe not with the decisions I did.
I will say, has anyone learned a lesson about left side swamp?
No, probably not.
I mean, I didn't expect anyone to change anything, but this was the most loaded left side swamp that I think I've ever seen, in addition to Silver's and the flute, which led you to the ice rod. Let's also not forget, and Walter, you didn't know this, over there on Checkerboard Cave was a tempered sword.
Of course it was. I was thinking about checking that, but I was thinking hopefully I'll probably find a sword in Ganon's tower. At least we had Silver's, in case we didn't.
We were just discussing on the stream, we really haven't ever seen a left side swamp that loaded before. Just the quality of items to make life so much easier on that way up to Turtle Rock and then the rest of the completing of the game. There was just
just Swamp overall had a lot of good things.
Yes, we're finding the Titan's bits in the area before going up to Argus as well.
Yeah, and the boots in the base chest too.
Yeah, there was just so much value just emanating from the Swamp Palace.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing to watch this seed. And I tell you, you and Walter, you and Solsky were neck and neck from like Turtle Rock on. You both fell a couple times to Moldorm 2 right at the same time. It's like one person fell, then the next person fell, then the next person, and it just kind of ping pong back and forth.
Yeah.
Because he had Tempered Sword, he was outpacing you on Ganon for a little while. Then he died early. He took a Ganon hug to the face. So that was right around when you entered phase 3, and we're like, oh my god, Walter's going to pull this off. And then you fell.
Yeah, that's bad. I was pretty happy with most of my boss fights, except for Ganon and the Lamolas.
Yeah, it seemed as though it was struggling a little bit against Lamolas, and it was around that time I think Brewers had picked up his silver arrows, having just left Swamp. So, commenting there that the silvers would have come in very handy against that Lambo fight. Seems as though Kern is finishing his Ganon fight. He's had a few hits on Ganon already. He's just looking to get that final silver arrow and put this seed to rest.
So I imagine most people seeing the finishes times on stream did both Turtle Rock without Ice Rod and skipping left side Swamp.
Yeah, there was a lot of left side Swamp skippage, and then taking that gamble, going into Turtle Rock and trying to clear it and hoping to pick up Ice Rod on the way. It was a difficult choice to make, and then not finding it by the time you finish Laser Bridge obviously signals it's elsewhere, I need to go elsewhere, and trying to then think, where haven't I been, where could this item possibly be?
Yeah, the only person on stream who did not skip left side Swamp was Brewers Fan, who of course ended up winning, and his item collection rate shows it. I mean, in his final time ended up showing it. And Kern did end up finishing, I think, officially with a time in 20th place with a time of 2:10:41. So GG Kern, and he does join us.
I do.
GG's.
Thanks.
How did you find this seed?
How did I find it?
Yeah.
Well, it's like another notch in my belt of finding the absolute worst way to route a seed. So I was really thankful for that opportunity.
So you had some really interesting strats here. You super bunnied all of Palace of Darkness.
Yeah, Overworld Bunny Revival, yeah. Kind of like Super Bunny. Super Bunny, you can't use Y items, so or return Kiki. But yeah, that's the. It's a weird thing that you should probably never do, but it's a way to add value to an early Aga play.
Yes, it's just worth noting as well. Out of the 4 streamers who were featured, you were the only person to do Aga 1, and we were throwing that out there early because of the cape. But we weren't sure whether anyone was going to find the hammer or who was going to make that play to go to the tower first, and you ended up doing it. And we thought, okay, you checked the pyramid, you've got Bombos Medallion, are you going to save from here and then go elsewhere to try and find that Moon Pearl? And you ended up just surprising us and going straight to Palace of Darkness. and taking that on instead.
Yeah, I'm really glad that came up. That's one of my favorite things to do, but it never pays off. I do not recommend ever doing that. Maybe in inverted mode once that comes out, but even then, maybe don't do that. But it's fun. It's super fun.
I mean, it looked a lot of fun from where we were standing. We were like, what's he doing? Oh, he's doing this. Okay, that's great. And then, the big swing moment was Left Side Swamp.
Yeah.
Brewers fan is the only one on stream who went and checked that.
Oh.
Everyone else skipped it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
For me, like when I went into the swamp and I was leaving, I realized I still had 2 items over there. I was still missing more than enough that it made sense to go back in and check those 2 items. If it had just been 1 item, I probably would have skipped it too.
Yeah, I was. I knew I was behind because I did AGA, and I knew that AGA also was not. I didn't know, but I suspected AGA was not required. So, but I did it anyway because I wanted to do the overworld bunny revival, and just in case, it was cool. But so I felt behind after that, and I took all sorts of gambles, starting with Left Side Swamp, and then everything else. So it's like once you're behind, it's hard to do anything else other than take huge risks.
I mean, and you took some huge risks, and we got to see a lot more neat tech from you because of it. So thank you, sir. I mean, we were entertained at very least.
Hey, well, thank you. Yeah, well, that's what it's all about, right? Like, other than beating Walter, I'm not sure I really cared about placement.
Did you do Spike K with 6 hearts?
No, I did it with 15. Did you?
No.
I don't know if you could do anything with 6 hearts. This was a very healthy seed early on, if I recall.
I do remember taking a death to Moth, but I think I might have had 7 at that point.
Yeah, we were commenting pretty into the seed of a couple of crystals being collected here and there, and most of our runners were sitting with 8, 9, 10 hearts, and this seed was very healthy to be getting on with. And then finding the armor upgrades, one on Catfish and the other one on Zora's Ledge.
So I have to ask, I avoided opening chests in G Tower because I didn't want to get the Tempered Sword. I wanted to do Canis and Mario strats on Ganon. But did anybody else find Tempered or Gold?
No, not even in the big chest.
Oh, wow.
So Tempered was in Checkerboard Cave for me.
Same.
There was also one on Smith's if you didn't check that.
I checked that one. Where was the other sword then?
We don't actually know.
Somebody in chat said Pyramid Fairy.
Oh,
that could
wow.
check out because Turtle Rock was obviously last for everyone. So at go mode at that point, you really want to go back and check the fairy. So for most people, that'll probably be a no. But obviously, someone must have gone there at some point.
And I just want to clarify too that it may have looked like I was doing a towel room gamble, but that wasn't a towel room gamble. I just want to deliver a public service announcement. That was not actually a towel room gamble. It was something very different. It's a different strat that I'm calling living on a prayer. And the idea is if you don't get a small key in the hope chests, then you do towel room, hoping to either get a big key or a small key. And I think because I did towel room, that was the absolute fastest you could have gotten to the big key location in this thing. So it paid off. I think maybe Dark Magician would have been comparable, but I don't even think it would have been as good. Anyway, just to clarify, in case anyone was confused, that was not a towel room gamble. It's very different, okay?
I think out of everyone, you were the only person to do like a full right side off that and going to the Disney on Ice fight that way round rather than headed round to randomizer room.
It's it's a dumb strat, but it's better than a towel room gamble. It succeeds more. I did like a statistical analysis on 25,000 seeds, and it's a good strat for if you feel behind and want to make up time on Walter or something.
Okay.
It's like you're calling out a specific name.
You
like
gotta
you have
have
a
to make up a
rivalry or
little bit
something.
more time.
So that was a good Tower Room Gamble talk.
Hey, it's not Tower Room Gamble.
It's living on a prayer. You know what? For you, I'm going to call that living on a prayer from now on, Kern.
I've heard that Kern quite often does the Tower Room Gamble.
It's oh my god.
All right. Do we have any last minute comments from any of our wonderful runners about this seed or anything else?
Don't reset after escape.
Yeah, good game, everybody.
All right. That's going to go ahead and do it for all of us here. Kern, Walter4, Brewers Fan, JP, and Solsky, go ahead and give them a follow here on Twitch if you like what you saw from them. There's going to be, we're in a little bit of a lull right now on speed gaming. The next race for any speed gaming is going to be at 7 o'clock Eastern time over on Speed Gaming 1. There's a Celeste race that's going on. And then at 9 o'clock over on Speed Gaming, I believe that's 4, it's going to be Super Metroid and Link to the Past Randomizer. Also at 9 is a Crossworld Entrance Shuffle for Link to the Past Randomizer is going on, and that's going to be same place right here on Speed Gaming 3. At 10 o'clock, there's a Z1 Randomizer and an Ori Randomizer over on Speed Gaming. Undecided. I don't know which one that Ori Randomizer is going to be at, but it will be on somewhere. That's going to do it. I'm going to wrap it up for us here. Once again, big shout out to Michael K. and Sinhei doing tracking for us, and my wonderful co-commentator, 12th Dot. Thanks so much, man.
No, thank you for having me, and thank you for commentating with me. It was really good fun.
I appreciate you guys so much, and we'll see everyone at the next match. Go ahead and have a great rest of your day, guys.
Yep, good night, and keep watching Speed Gaming Network.